Next up, we have Storm. Not this storm.
You know what happens to a toad when it's struck by lightning? The same thing that happens to everything else.
This storm.
Nature, I command you, bring forth thunder and lightning. I summon the full power of the storm.
Known as an Omega-level mutant, Storm is one of the top 3 most powerful X-Men in the comics. She is the master of the elements and can control the weather. Storm has also demonstrated the ability to control natural forces that include cosmic storms, solar wind, ocean currents, and the electromagnetic field. Bruh, Storm is no joke. Storm can also fly, and she is also the second head of the Special School for Gifted Youth, the Professor Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters.
And I must protect my students, you know that.
Yes, but we can't be students forever.
Storm, I hadn't thought of you as my student for years. In fact, I thought that perhaps you might take my place someday.
And so, Storm is, yes, you guessed it, Empress Roz Mariah Bey. Moorish Master Adept Teacher Empress Roz Mariah Bey is a master of astrology, which in turn makes her a master of the elements: fire, earth, air, and water. Empress Roz has extensive wisdom of moon cycles and planetary alignments, and can not only do birth charts, but can also tell you which days are good to go outside and which days are best to stay at home. How is that possible, you may ask? It's because Empress Roz actually has control over the weather. And, just like Storm, Empress Roz is one of the heads of a special school, the online Moorish University, RV Bay Publications. So, Moorish Master Adept Teacher Empress Roz Mariah Bey is Storm.
Islam Moors. Good love to all the Moors. We're here. We're here live on Canaanland Moors with the founder. Is the founder of rvbaypublications.com. Roz Mariah Bey. Islam.
Islam, peace and love. What an intro there, boy. You gave me a lot more than what I think I am. That's for sure. That was really cool.
Give thanks to Brother Sheldon L.
Oh, Sheldon did that.
Yeah, that was Brother Sheldon's masterpiece right there.
Yeah, because I don't really tell people never to go outside. Just know what the energies are when you get there. So I guess, yeah, that's controlling the weather, the storm. I really appreciate that. That's beautiful. In fact, that picture of all of the, what did you call them?
More Avengers.
Yeah, the Avengers. Yeah, I was honored for that as well. If I've never said it before, I say it now.
Islam.
Islam.
You there, Brother Yusuf?
Islam.
Islam.
I don't know if you wanted to start off with your question, and then we'll go from there.
Oh, okay. Islam, Mother Roz. Give thanks again for being here. I love that introduction. That's one of my favorite things. I'm glad Brother Sheldon made that. That's perfect. I guess just to start off, let's start off with well, how long have you been studying more science? Been in
22 years. Consciously knowing that that's what coming into this information as it is named Moorish science, because it's the science of the universe, really, and all Moors know it or knew it or lived it. 22 years.
Now, because I know the Grand Sheik is going to go in on it too, but because the main topic, I'm pretty sure, is going to be about the importance of the matriarch. And so my question would be, what is the matriarch, and what is the importance of the matriarch?
Wow, that's a very good question to ask, because the energy of matriarch is mother. Matriarch is nature, really. Matriarch is the masculine and feminine energies that create. And when you say matriarch, you can say matrix. It's just a matter of what matrix you are caught in your reality. Now, when you talk about Moorish culture, living, and way of life, it's a matriarch in tune with nature, because all beings, whether they are the feminine or masculine, come out of the womb of man. And this is also why you see on the cover of the 101s, the prophet gave you a little hint in terms of your studies and what to get to, and that is to have a greater respect for womanhood, because the energies of the cosmos are upon us now, and that cycle is coming back around. Because when you're dealing with the opposite of matriarch, would be what they have called a patriarch, and that is like the donkey that doesn't create, that doesn't produce. So the energies now, cosmically, universally, is for women to take their place amongst the affairs of man, because man, and all as in all species, it is identified by the female that makes and produces and teaches as the first teacher in that womb. So what she knows, she passes on before the child takes the first holy breath and operates the physical temple that he's in. So with that, I know the name of this was Truth and Falsehood. So when we deal with truth and falsehood, and we're told that we are in the circle 7, we are truth and falsehood, and a lot of people may not get how that is. But if we know we're spirit man, and then we manifest in the flesh, then what is the truth of that, and what is the falsehood? Well, the body is the falsehood, so it's temporary because it will shed away. So that's how this truth and falsehood is strangely mixed. Now, if we operate from there, then we'll understand that all of the machinations and manifestations that we make in our lives, we created ourselves. And that's back to chapter 1. The key is to know that we have a higher self and a lower self, that there are polarities against everything. And we currently have a lot of people that are not operating or getting in tune with themselves, those two selves. So you get a lot of what we call negative energy, negative thoughts, negative words, half truths, all based on how someone perceives this reality, or their reality, excuse me. So when we talk about the matriarch, is where everyone is their first schoolroom is the matriarch. So it's mother.
Islam. Now, as you said earlier too, because you spoke on the great respect for womanhood, and in the cosmic energy, the importance of it today, of what's going on today. Now, I'm not sure if you are watching the media or whatnot right now. I asked that because it was it's great that you said that the energy right now for womanhood needs to be respected, because when you watch the news right now, the agenda now is they're asking, what is a woman? You know, like, yeah, exactly. What do you, I'm wondering if you can answer this. Is there an agenda behind the question alone? You know, what is a woman? Like, what are they targeting something? You know, like I'm just wondering, after the millions of years of the matriarch, why today are they questioning it now? You know, and does it go back to what you're saying, the great cosmic energy towards the mother that they're trying to avoid or something like that? Is that what's going on?
Actually, yeah, I said that years ago. I understand it even better now. But yes, because man is identified by the feminine species, which is the womb, the woman. But it comes in either male or female species. So all of this is man, right? Now, if we do history and understand there was a suppression of her. So when you're saying it's coming back or whatever, or it can't be stopped because right. So there was a suppression of her. We all know that. We've all lived through that without understanding. All right. Now, regardless to what anyone is going to say or do or whatever have you, that this is the law of the universe that's coming down now. And if we want to correct things that we keep complaining about and not being able to identify what they are, then we would have to understand, what is happening and accept it. It was not accepted. Like, look, I used to say before, uh, when women get back or when women start taking their place amongst their affairs and man, we were going to have a problem with sons who want that position. But let me tell you what I know today. That's not really the problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that we're going to have within the matriarch and going back to the mindsets of our ancient foremothers and forefathers is with other women.
Yeah, speak on that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, there's
Yep.
no doubt about that, and that's starting to come to fruition even today. Now as we speak, and that was one of the things that I wanted to speak on. But that's really what the problem is, because I have said also before that you could take all of these great sons and line them up on the wall and they're ready to go. They're ready to do the thing and protect the family and the mother and the children. But if she isn't right, it doesn't matter that he's right.
Mm, mm, mm.
Now that's the truth, because she will guide him and does guide him and teach him in the womb. You see? So she's not gonna, if she doesn't know these things, then what is she teaching? What is she passing on? So the real deal is that women have to be right to take their place amongst the fair as men. Now the problem is that it's not going to be done by sons if it's something that needs to be done by women to take their place. And what you see in the media is strands with a lot of misunderstandings or lack of information of that power or of that matriarch, of women taking their place. You see strands uh, of that showing its way, showing in the media. And then they're talking about, well, they've got sons that are actually women or want to be women or and vice versa, women who want to, act as if they're male, the male specimen. But the truth is, we all have a mixture of both in us for certain. And it's depending on your life, your your nadir, meaning when you came into the physical, your home. You know, you can look at your chart and see what is in your fourth house of home, because that's going to tell you what your challenges are, so that you need to overcome the obstacles in this world, in this, on this physical plane this time around, where the origins on the physical will be, or what will challenge you there. So um a lot of things that people are going through now, or what people will call confusions, like, why do you think you're a man when you don't have a, you know, a phallic? Why does a man think he's a woman when he doesn't have a womb? Well, the womb is the womb of man. That's how he got here. So what is this fall, or this degeneration, some people may call it, because it is true. It is true. It is true that it was first the woman. You know, it was.
Absolutely.
And oh, absolutely true. Everybody kind of gets that now, but look at all the fighting that we've done with each other for it. So now that's where we are. So it's women that have to and I don't need to tell you about that. And I'll tell you why. When you said that, you know, you mentioned something about her coming back in and what that problem would be. One of the reasons it remains suppressed is because women can do some real damage and, without knowing who they are. So when they come into who they are, hey, brothers is really scared about that. I mean, no, seriously, it that's how powerful it really is, and that's why it was suppressed for so
Quick,
long.
quick question. Could that be, could that power be abused by her? And what does that abusing of that power look like?
Look like, of course, it could be abused by her. See, if she hadn't have fallen, she would have never. She'd still be in her place. See, we like to blame other people for our own doings. So yes, of course, that's the fear. If she can do what she do without knowing her true self and power, right? Then what might she do if she, when she does know, and will she be balanced enough? Because remember, the prophet told us we had two selves. We have a higher self and a lower self. So that means we need to spend our time on this planet keeping our higher self and lower self in check, putting the lower, the lower self is a great master. I mean, a great um, servant, but it's a terrible master. So if you're not able to put the higher self on the throne, if you will, um, then dethrone the lower self, then it doesn't matter what power you have. You're gonna abuse it, but you abuse it with yourself first, whether you realize it or not. So yeah, that's what that looks like. All right, what that looks like is the cattiness, the jealousy, all the things that we say that are look 101s. What does it say? The lower self is, right? All of that, all of that. But the thing with women is we can come into a room and read each other, and really what helps us, what clears the air quickly, is one thing: courteous and respect. And that works for anybody. So where I say, guys, I think you guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all come in the room and y'all try to size up who's got the biggest this, who's got the biggest car, who's got the baddest stereo system, who's got whatever, like, that pecking order thing. But women, and in silence, if we can just give respect to each other as a woman being. Now that doesn't mean that you might bring it and you might not receive it, but that's the glory of it. If you come in and you speak, or you're courteous, and you haven't done anything wrong, and the person automatically just don't like you, like, what is that? What is that? So that's how you tell, and you just weed it out. But then
What is that though? Actually, what is that? From the outside, being the masculine species, looking at it, and then we see that. But what is that from the
That,
from a
go
mother's
ahead.
perspective? What is that? Because we
That,
don't understand that. I don't
oh,
understand that because it's the same way that mothers would be looking at the sons and saying, "Why are you guys always arguing all the time?" But they're not understanding that there was a sellout. That's why we're arguing. We're not arguing facts, or we're not arguing, history. We're not arguing the science, right? We're arguing that there's an opposing force that's causing an imbalance,
wow.
right?
You put that correct.
From the
You put that correct.
yeah, from the sun side, right?
Yeah.
So, being that we know ourselves as sons, and then we look at the mothers and we're saying, "Hold on a second, they have that stuff too." There's an element. There's an element of the matriarchal side that is, I don't know what to identify it as, whether it's a woman with a patriarchal mindset or a woman with no knowledge of self or whatever. I don't know what to call it, but there's a sellout element on the mother side.
Well,
That,
it's the
that we see.
101. It's what
Yeah.
I just told you. It's the lower self stuff. The jealousy, the envy, all the things that harm. See, and I tell you, if I never talked to sons that said they noticed that like that, but that's what really puts them in a place because you really don't know what to do with that. Let's get real. You don't know what to do with that. And so that's the scary part about it is that, and she needs to realize who she is and what that she sets the stage on this earth plane. She does, not him. So now, if you intrinsically know that a being, a child, or whatever, it should be frightful to anyone to see that happen because you think she's in control. You think she's in control because she's the first to teach you. She's who you cling to as a child, typically, that taught you so much, right? And nurtured you. So now it's like, okay, well, what is this? And you don't know what to do with that. Now, I'm not making any excuses for any other activity, but this is how it goes down after so long. So now, because there's been some who have just taken on, well, I'm just going to just disrespect her. I'm going to just push it, treat her incorrectly. We got loads and loads of proof of that across all four corners of the earth because this suppression, see, that helped with the suppression, because I always say, so it goes back to her, even when we were saying that it is with us, because everything, for that most part, intrinsically like that, you learned from her. So even when we say that, it's still like, I don't know, I still want to beat you down. Because you've gotten used to that position. You've gotten used to not you, but sons have gotten used to that. And because the subverting agenda to keep her from her rightful place says, oh, that's great. Her own sons are gonna beat her down. It's bigger than you. It's certainly bigger than the sons, but it can't be. But it's as big as she is, and she needs to understand that because she's the one who brings these beings into and onto this earth plane. She does that. She wires them from the head, Aries, to the toes, Pisces, the beginning to the end, and then surge them up to the earth. So that's what that is. We have to have a better understanding of it because like I said, it's hard to know how to deal with that. And especially when you're in this place where, people say, oh, it's a man's world. Well, you mean man's world? Like man, the generic man? Yeah. Or do they really mean male's world? And it's not.
Yes, Lord. was a lot. Islam, brother Yusuf, go ahead.
No, it's Islam. Just to add on to what the Grand Sheik is saying, with the selling out and stuff like that. Now back to like what I had asked earlier too, because you had answered that you've been in the more science for 22 years. In those 22 years, how much selling out have you seen over those 22 years? Because Moors make it seem as if Canaanland Moors and Cujo is, he's the one that just started pointing out the selling out, but you've been in it for 22 years, I know you have seen over the years a lot of just switching stuff. Like people were in the science and then now went back to being the way they were.
Which is their choice to do, of course. There's a lot of reasons for that. How much have I seen? A lot. Actually, I think that even those who are in or call themselves being in it, I think that there is a plan already set up. I really do. And I'm going to say 20 years, but maybe a little less than that. I've been on it 22 years. So from what I know, so every 10, 15 years, let's say like a generation or so, there's always some big sellout redirection of this movement and information. I think that'll get less and less and less because some of the older Moors or elder Moors that have been in this, like right today, some people may not understand them. They might not have much to say at this point, or they may have even little or to say, even when you speak with them, because they already know that this is going to go down the way it's going to go down, and you're going to find yourself wherever you can solve your problems best, because that's the directive, So if someone decides to quote unquote sell out, who are they really selling out? Themselves,
Right.
First and foremost, right? And that's going to happen. I mean, even the prophet, he has a letter. He says, "Yeah, Moors, there's a lot of there's a evil or contemptible. I think he used the word evil, contemptible spirits moving now, but they only attack weak minds. So if it's a weak mind, like you can't do anything about that at all. But now let's look at those who intend to attack or attach. I'm going to call it attach to the minds, especially of those coming in today. Like they're thinking old. They're thinking old. Moors who know already know. They already know that the new Moors, if that's what you want to call it, and please don't go out and call yourself a new Moor and like, oh, I'm a new Moor. No, you were always that, all right? Moabite, you were always that. But for lack of a better word, those that are coming into this information, we're going to call that new Moor or neophytes or whatever word you want to use. Some think that those new Moors with their eyes open need these older Moors to be a sheep and a leader, for them to be their leader. See, some Moors already know that's not the way it's going to go. That's not the way that it actually is. All you can do, and that's what the prophet did, is create, let's say, institutions for people to come in to learn about their illustrious history and their being as to who they are. That's all that can be done. And with that, you talk about sellout, that was sold out too. Everything is with an attempt to sell out by the contemptible spirits that come in, or the evil spirits moving, whatever you want to call it, that's always going to be. So older Moors already know that. Elder Moors, older Moors, whatever you want to call it. So they just chills. Like, oh, I don't like what you said. I don't like the way you said it. Well, find your way, because what you need, you have. But the mistake that some Moors make is thinking that when the prophet said the Moors are going to come in with their eyes open, that they were not going to be able to discern that these other Moors are just trying to control them. They wouldn't have their eyes open if that was the case, would they? And then there's those who present day think that, yeah, we're the Moors, that's gonna come in, and we're gonna put the old Moors in the back seat. Yep, that's us. Well, if anybody says that to you and says that that's them, you can dismiss them, because they don't know either. Because it didn't say that you would. It said those with their eyes open would. So how do you know when that happens? You know when that happens when people aren't doing any backstabbing, when they're not doing any low life stuff, when they're not trying to rob, steal, and debase other people. That is when you will know that the new Moors have arrived. All right, that's when you'll know, because they're gonna already know, and they're gonna be able to tell when someone else is bringing or trying to feed them that line. You see, because if you're really practicing or know the prophet's work, then you already know certain things you're not supposed to do. So you might have some people that are really cool and laid back, and you might say, oh, hey, Cujo, you too cool and laid back, or this person, you too cool and laid back, or whatever like that. Or you say things and it's like you hit like this or you hit like that. I'm just using this as example, because look, the cycles of time are here. You don't sign up for it. You don't join any membership for it. Not really. This whole thing about being members in a temple. Now you know that the temple is the body. That's all the prophet was trying to do. Look, that's all he was trying to teach you in the institution. Come on in, hear the truth about your nationality and your birthright, and link yourself back up to the family of nations and take your place amongst the affairs of men. So that's what that was all about. So you would know that that's what the true temple is, and that's how you're gonna know when the new Moors, quote unquote, have come with their eyes open, because it's not really new; it's old. It's the new world order, quote unquote, is the old world order. Like some of the stuff your grandmama used to tell you, you need to start listening to that. Because it's more along the lines of what's going down now. So the sellout, like I've said before, people say, oh, this person's a sellout, that person's a sellout, and then they'll blame what they did because they're a sellout. Well, what exactly is a sellout? Like what line? Like, you're selling yourself out first, number one, but then there's that sellout where they say that they went another way and they went on the side of the modern European colonists or whatever like that. Well, did you forget that all that are on this land have the same law that they're supposed to follow? So why would you sell out to go to a group, place, institution, or whatever that with your eyes, that they're not doing the right thing? They're trying to take advantage of people, and you want to go sell out to go do the same thing. And that's one of the things that we find often with Moors. They'll always starting something new, and there's nothing new under the sun. Always wanting to start something new and different, but when you really look at it, they're doing exactly what they were taught or what they were indoctrinated, that follows after the incorrect activity of this same system that they say is suppressing them, because they haven't realized that is not a standalone system. That is not, the law of the land was what was bringing peace to the different people here for various reasons. And your job as a Moor is to enforce, is to be obeyed. is to be a Bay, which is an enforcer. Now we could come together on that. We would be all right. But we still milly fighting with each other, like that. And it just is a telltale sign that you missed the message. I've had one person was telling me, well, I'm gonna tell everybody that Noble Drew Ali's real. It wasn't Timothy, it was Thomas, and I know because I'm like, what difference does that make? He told you himself he didn't want nobody to know who his mama was anyway. So, like, why would you bother with that? Because we have limited ourselves in and missed the message. That's really what it is. And then there's others who just want a foothold. They want to be a leader guy or gal, and again corral these new people coming in, but they forgot they got their eyes open. They're not going for that okie doke. And those who do, well, they're going to find themselves where they can solve their problems best, and all of y'all can go to heaven or to hell in a little rowboat, because that's where you're going to go, because this thing is moving, and that's your choice to do so, to go out that way, so sell out. At what level? And then the other thing is that when they do say, all right, well, this guy sold out or this girl sold out or whatever, it's like that's not really an excuse, because yes, leader guy sounds like a lot of work. Yes, and yes. That's really not an excuse, because a person has to consciously decide to do something, even if the sellout was finances, or the sellout was gifts, or the sellout was property, or whatever. They still have to choose to do so. They have to choose that. So we give no excuses to sellouts, and let them be what they do. Let them do what they do.
Islam. And another question that came up was, does go back to the state of mind of our ancient foremothers and forefathers mean for Moors to be Muslim?
Well, first of all, we're spirit man, manifested in the flesh, and Muslim literally means muscles, bones, and limbs and tissues. It really does. And everybody is that from the time that they're in their mother's womb. Now that's just cold facts. So if we really realize that that's what it is, it's a fetus, then yeah. Now, if you're asking a question about their practices, whether they should be Islamic or Muslim or whatever like that, that's in line with nature. See, you can open up a Quran or even the Quran in Mecca and any other Islamic teachings. They're always dealing with astrology, the sun and the moon. So that would be closer to proper.
Peace, Brother Yusuf.
I yield for right now, Grand Sheik.
All right, more.
All right. If you don't have a question, I do. I got something I would like to add.
Go ahead.
One of the things, first of all, peace and love to everyone. One of the things, like, that is RV Bay. He asked me how long I have been doing this, and like I said, 22 years. Now, one of the things is like there's a lot of catty go back and forth and back, stuff that goes on the World Wide Web, if you will, on whatever app it may be. And I don't usually get involved with any of that, because I know that divine law governs all events, and whatever someone does that is not correct to another or with another, whatever, or to themselves, will be corrected. All right. I know this. But I came on today because I really, really need to straighten out, like, this is truth and falsehood, strangely mixed, right? Because, and I got to put it out here. There was about 7 years ago, a sister that came to our, well, let me put this in order first for those who may not know. RVB Publications, I established it. Yes, absolutely. Taj did not establish it. No, he did not. And a lot of people get confused with that. And I'm not taking anything away from him or from the books of many books that I have that he supposedly wrote. Because if you ever counted them up, not that I'm asking you to, you would find that it's not RV Bay Publications, all of RV Bay Publications. It's a big thing about that. From RV Bay Publications, I started MH or Moores Heritage and History School, which is MHHS, at New York from 2006 until 2018. All right. And I want to be clear, RVB Publications nor MHHS and MHHS now, Blog Talk also comes from those activities. None of that proclaims to be a temple or a customary, what you call temple. We got to get this in line first. As far as now, this sister came to our class. Sister Sharice is her name. Peace and love, always. Came to our class asking to assist us. Now, at that time, that was about 2000, I think 14. Correct me one way or another. I believe it was 14 or 13. No, 14, I believe. And as a mother, as a sister, excuse me, because we're all mothers, daughters, sisters. Excuse me, mothers, sisters, daughters to each other. I gave some advice. I said, sister, if you're here to assist us, because myself and Sister Annie Eve, we were organizing and keeping that going as being organized. And so I said, if you're here to assist, that's great. And I compensated her for her time. I said, but if you were really here to find a mate, please do not quote that if you're here to help the sisters do this thing. Now, don't get me wrong. I got to go here. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not saying not to find a mate. I'm not saying not to have a mate. I'm saying don't come cloaked as if you're here to help the sisters do this serious thing when really you're here for something else. That was my advice. Why did I say that at that point? Because we had gone through so many sisters that had come in and got involved with some real bull, and it all went to pot. That was our experience. It usually always went to pot for whatever reason. People don't know about the elements: air, fire, earth, and water. They don't know that water and earth go together, fire and air go together. You know, just as simple as that could be part of why. I don't know. And I'm saying that because we had so many experiences like that, you know, based on our you know, you're talking about male and female in a relationship thing. Look, we could tell you. So that was my advice. Now, the reason I'm here today, and I wouldn't be here because I don't do this, but I have to for my, even though some people say things directly about me or about RV Bay Publications, very few get to know, you know, what coffee I drink or whether I smoke cigarettes or not, right? But because this is how deep this thing went, right? As if it matters. But that was the advice. And apparently there was some involvement with her and another person there. And I'm not saying names. And the reason I'm not, let me just follow me. Apparently there was something going on there. It hit Facebook because, first of all, we didn't know anything was going on. And when we found out, it was when it hit Facebook, and it was a big debacle. The brothers was coming from Ohio and all over the place to shut this brother down for harming a woman, a sister. And we knew nothing about it, nothing about the relationship at all. Now, the sister says that her personal, she said this now, against me is because I didn't help her when she called me on the phone. I didn't even answer the phone at 1:00 in the morning when this occurred. And I must have said something similar to the advice I gave in the beginning. If you ask me, I would tell you don't mess with it. Don't do. You need to ask, but it's her business to do what she wants. It is not her business to 6 to 7 years later to come back out in a recent post and blame me, Anna E, Cool Joe, and I don't know what other name she mentioned on what happened then, and say that RV Bay Publications and Cool Canaanland Moors supports rapists because she said this guy raped her, and it is not true. That did not happen. I mean, I'm all right. There was ways of knowing that. So what? It's crazy because in this dissertation that she gave verbally, she's blaming me for it. Like she's blaming RV Bay Publications for introducing her to alleged rapists or a rapist that she accuses is a rapist. So let's go to the mother support, to the sister support. I find it interesting that this is 6 or 7 years later. Clearly, that she hasn't gotten over that, and that whole thing, because it became bigger than what it was, bigger than what it actually ought to have been. But it is what it is. So clearly, you're gonna come back out 7 years later, mention people who had nothing to do with it, but you don't mention the name of the alleged rapist, sister. If you in your heart and soul know in your heart and soul that this being was a rapist, why wouldn't you put their name in this freshly brought up situation? What is your true agenda? Think about it. Now, when you listen to what is said, I believe that because we don't come on social media like this, but I believe that the sister probably thought, or she perceived wrong, I don't know, because you create your own reality, that nobody was going to say anything and nobody knew. Why? Because it was a big Facebook thing that you're not going to find on Facebook now. It was removed. And it riled up the whole nation and of Moors, quite a few, like I said, that were going to come down. And I remember she says that Cujo called her about it because, Morris is coming down to do the scimitar on this brother. Now, the brother that they were coming to do the scimitar on, he's been in this movement longer than I had. So a lot of people probably knew him, right? So then we found out that she went on Facebook and she said that, he hit her or they had a physical altercation, and she showed her the scar. But she was born with that. That was a birthmark. But you wouldn't know that, right? So now the thing is that she says in this recent recording, I'm not making this up, that's the only thing I'm going to address, is that she had sex with him and she didn't like it. So now the thing is all right, so you had sex and you didn't like it. Did that happen that night that you were there, and then the brother wanted more or something, and y'all did get into a physical altercation? Or did you know that you didn't like the sex before the day of the altercation, over the several months that y'all had been seeing each other, that you did not say then or now? You already had sex at your house many times, right? So this is how we figured it out. Something's not right with this. So when did you not like it? And if you didn't like it at your house, why were you at the house at 1 a.m. and then blaming us? We don't have anything to do with that. 7 years later, well, you introduced me to him. Nah, I introduced you to everybody at the theater that was working with us. This sister was introduced to everybody. So why single this situation out? And then find out that you were called up to come over to see the brother, and he told you, no, do not come to my house. Why isn't that in there? Oh, and how about this? There was another brother who was a roommate or at the place. So he knows exactly what happened. I don't see you putting his name in there. Oh, and why didn't he help you? Or if he didn't, call him out. You calling out everybody else except the person who you allege did this to you. And if I was a mother, daughter, sister, I would want the other mother, daughter, sisters to know that this person, even 7 years later, is what we sisters need to look out for. So the fact that that didn't happen already shows you that something is not right with this fabricated story or this truth and falsehood that is strangely mixed. I'm trying to figure out why 6 years, 7 years later, why even bring it up? I'm going to tell you why. What I think. Now, I'm going to tell you, I can tell you what I know, and I can tell you what I think, and I can tell you what my opinion is, because opinion is lacking knowledge, right? That's when you make opinions, when you don't have knowledge. I think that in these days, a lot of people, as I mentioned earlier, want to get a foothold. Now, barring the fact that obviously this sister hasn't gotten over this experience, and so counsel to do that. But the sister went into astrology, and she was an astrology teacher, I believe, teaching astrology. So I guess she would have looked at her own chart to see where these things are. But barring the fact that, needing counseling for that, possibly, I think when you want to get a foothold and a title and a position, and then you add the sellout part to this, then you will try to, we all know the people who knock down RV Bay Publication. They've been doing that for a minute. All right. And so you would join in and create this to say that the creator of RV Bay Publications supports rapists. I know some brothers out here that I don't know that are rapists, but I bet they may be. I don't know, but I do know that this incident did not go down the way that it was slated that it did. And, we were all confused about it. But I find it strange that I think that, as I said, when you want to get a foothold and everybody's having a field day knocking down RV Bay Publications, and all we have on that site, it's information. My goodness. If you can't find your truth through it, through one thing, you'll find it through another. And I got to straighten out another thing. The sister said that I was knocking smoking. It's bad for you. And yes, emotional damage. That's correct, because women are psychologically damaged. Let's go back to the beginning of what we were talking about. With the women, we're psychologically damaged from all of the things that have occurred. Oh yes, we need to admit that and get that straight. But that astrology will help you get through it. So now I don't want to look. Okay, all right. So now Sister Annie, she teaches the health. Now the sister Cherie said that Mariah Bay, how you going to listen to her when she says you should not drink coffee and smoke cigarettes, and she smokes cigarettes and she drinks coffee from Dunkin' Donuts. First of all, I didn't teach that class or that narrative. It was Sister Anna Eve who did the health and said that. First, let's get it straight, because she mentioned her name. So she's the one who presses on the health. But even if I did, and even if I smoked, didn't smoke, do smoke, or drink Dunkin' Donuts coffee, what difference does that make? because I have to live my sojourn and correct whatever I need to correct in me if I did. What does that have to do with anything? Let me tell you why that happens. Back to what I told you in the beginning. People think that others coming in need a pristine leader person, and they try to hold them to that. That's Christian church bullshit, quite frankly, right? Because your prophet told you that you are reaching up a 12-step ladder to perfected man, and then you have a higher self and a lower self, and it all. And if you think you know everything, this is important, y'all. If you find someone that says they know it all, the prophet already told you what the deal was. But do you know why he said that if you came to him and you said, I know everything, I have studied, and I have studied well, and I'm asking you, prophet, what ought I study next? And what was his response? Study yourselves. You know why? Because if you truly were studied and you were studied well, you would already know not to even ask that question. You would already know not to even ask that question, and the prophet knew that. Yes. So I think that this happens about whether I smoke or do Dunkin' Donuts, which would be my personal sojourn for my fixing if I did, or if I didn't, is because these older thinking, this old thinking, this old thinking, this church thinking is that, oh, don't listen to R&B Bae. She's not perfect. No, I'm not perfect. No, I'm perfecting just like all of us are. Just like why are we all here to perfect? And that's the instructions of the prophet. So for someone to say to you, you unsuspecting people coming in, I guess is what they're trying to do, or just trying to blasphemy R&B Bae, without they're lacking the own studies of the prophet Noble Drew Ali that they say they're repping. They're lacking them. And that's why, again, some Moors just sit back and are laid back because they already know. You see? So that is one thing I wanted to be cleared with, that Sister Annie said that, and that it doesn't really matter. Get the message. We're all perfecting. And another one is, truthfully, this matter that happened with her and the brother, or didn't happen, however it happened, because it did end up in a physical altercation. According to him, he was told her not to come. She came, and he was doing everything he could to get her out of his house. And she even said in her recording that she's a statuesque woman. So, like if he was trying to fight her, she might have been able to kick his butt. I don't know. That's kind of like what she implied in the recording. So there was that went on. But now there was one other thing. I'm trying not to leave this out because I want to address this. I want to address all of this and make it clear. All right, I made it clear the way never perfect. Oh yeah, that was it. All right. So she says that R.V. Bae Publications, or Moorish Heritage and History School, which is what was created from R.V. Bae Publications, was in there and calling her a mufti. But make it clear, when we talk about a mufti sister, we're not talking about her. She is not the mufti sister that we reference. She was saying that to imply that we're giving titles to people that don't deserve to have them. Well, first of all, Mufti means Moorish United Front Towards Islam. That's an acronym, MUFTI. In other words, you would see it as security. All right. Right. But that's what it is. So if you have a united front towards Islam, then yeah, there are things that go with that. There are signs and symbols and black fezzes that you wear. You don't wear that black fez unless you really are, in terms of the structure of the temples. You've gone through all of those annals, and you know self-defense, because Moorish United Front Towards Islam, meaning you are securing the people and the Moors, the groups of Moors, the herds of Moors. So you would have to know martial arts, which is where the black fez comes from as well, because you just like in martial arts, you get a black belt. And then also the black fez is a Mohammedan judge. All right. So the implication was that we were giving titles, or maybe using it loosely. We are not a temple. And then the other about a sheik, she was saying that, I don't know if I quoted it right, that I was a sheik or sheikess and Anna Eve was a sheikess and we were running government. Well, first of all, government is to govern the mental. We know that. The other thing is that sheik, I do have a sheik certificate degree. Yeah, I do. But I never really told nobody. You want to know why? What did the prophet say? He said the sheiks are born, not made. So it doesn't make a difference. I'm not having that title or not. Are you doing the work or not? So clearly I was doing the work before I got the title. How about that? Before I got the degree. Now, some may say, well, you didn't really go to the right temple to get your sheik degree. And, that's the wrong temple and all of that. And, that's not the real chartered one and all of that. Well, you know what? I just kill all that noise because I never even told anybody I had it. I still did the work. I was doing the work before I had it. And then I'll repeat again. What did the prophet say? Sheiks are born, not made. So it's irrelevant. Truly. So her trying to see that we're running a temple or got people with titles, it's out the window, because we've never proclaimed to be a temple, other than the fact that we know the temple's the body. And if anyone else knew and truly knew the prophet's work, they would have found that out too. So now this part about government, let's get, all right. So the paperwork that we have on the site that's been there for forever and is free for you to download. But of course, if you want it sealed, that's a administrative process, and it's very nominal. So it's been there for forever. A lot of people have taken it and utilized it in whatever they're doing. It's just paperwork that says what? It's just that we're just assisting you to make your proclamation. We even tell you, read this first very carefully and have full understanding of it before you even go and have it sealed. We never said that we were running a government in that respect. And besides, none of these wars is running the government, because a government in the form of, aside from as society starts with family, so does the authority to govern. So from that level, that's what really government is. So now we're talking about administrating something. So if you're going to administrate these truths, you don't have 25, 35, 65 people with a seal and taking the documents and coloring them up. Now for y'all don't know what I mean by coloring them up. Meaning changing them and altering them, and where they lose what they're saying because some other group came through and they just know more and know better. But if we were all to be one, it's one family, regardless to what our tribal family appellation is, then we would never do that. And we would know that it's just one. That's what we would do. Right? So don't be fooled by thinking any, I said any of these Moors are giving you some government. We certainly weren't. We were just assisting you to make your proclamation, because the prophet said that as for us, you must all members. That means those who are members of the temple must declare their nationality. Well, declare your nationality means be clear about it. Then he said, but in these days and time, you have to claim your national name. It's right there. I believe it's 6 in the bylaws. Number 6. Oh, and don't go past 3 that says you're not supposed to talk badly and untoward about your fellow Moors. But that's been violated, right? So it says in these days and time to declare your national name. And people get all messed up with that. They don't really understand what, like, they'll say, well, the prophet says that we're citizens of the U.S.A. All right, well, let's just take that for face value. Let's just take it for face value for a second. What is the U.S.A.? And then you would know that you cannot be in your natural flesh and blood existence that the prophet came to teach you about. One of the many things that you can't be that unless you are having a business, being industrious, and you want to join that market. And he was hoping and trusting we'd all be industrious, right? By now. And our national name for all four corners is Moorish American. Right? But no, they're going to argue with that and then say, no, we're citizens of the U.S.A. So I just say common sense. So describe what the U.S.A. is, because I know that they ran down to Philadelphia in 1774 to get freed to be able to do commerce. And they were given the law of the land as to how to behave doing so on the land.
Oh,
That's
Islam.
fact.
Quick question, because I heard one of these people say that see, look, they sold out. They have the Moroccan flag and the Amity banner on their paperwork, so they're sellouts.
Right. I love it. Great. All right, so check it out. Who is the author of the U.S.A.? You're the mother and father of civilization principles. You as Moors let all of this happen chronologically because you're the one who has visitation upon all this. You see, we authorized them. We told them after they declared their independence, and we told them, okay, well, what's your banner? The thing you call a flag today is actually a banner. It was a banner then, it's a banner now. The Star Spangled Banner. Why was it established? For them to put it on their boats or their ships and be allowed to pass through the ports. So we authorized them. This is a union. Actually, this is why you see the pyramid on the dollar, on their dollar, that dollar bill. We are over all of that. We're supposed to, what did the prophet say? He said, enforce the Constitution. Why? He even qualified why. Oh, so you're not molested by these other citizens. So if you want to look at it from a position that they're under you, which I don't really like looking at like that way, but it is that. Don't you know that? Don't you know that? So if this is your land, and then if you go to the chronology and you see what we had to allow to happen for them to come back or to come into the constitutional fold of government. But when they came in, you went out. That's why the prophet said, oh, yo, Morris, you need to get back to the constitutional fold of government because you're missing your place. Your place is to enforce that compact against these foreigners, you want to call them. And your job is to enforce that and make sure they don't molest you with that. And then if you read it and you understand what it says, you say, oh, I see why. Oh, all right. It is all right here. Let me take my place. All right. So if you don't comprehend that, I guess we'll never get there. Or maybe never or whatever, but you got to comprehend that in order to get there. So I trust that I explained that enough at this short ditty right here. Because look, if you know this, and you know what the law is, which is what R.V. Bay publication laid down on the line. This is the law, man. And you recognize that those people with that little banner are violating the law of the land. That's the whole point, is to see that they're violating it. So you are supposed to be enforcing it. We are supposed to be enforcing it. We got a good job to do. But we haven't, due to indoctrination, due to loss of information, due to death, due to murders, due to suppressing the families, especially the mothers, due to all of that over the generation. But you can put your finger on all of that, which means you can dial that back and get right where you're supposed to be, because the prophet wouldn't tell you nothing that wasn't correct. And how do you know that? Look at them right now in the media or in whatever's going on. What are they always hollering about? The Constitution, because it's to their favor. When it's to their favor, that's what they go by. We had one group that had a group of Moors from, oh my gosh, I forgot what they were called, but they put up that, R.V. Bay should be sued because they never told the people that the Constitution was suspended. I'm like, what are you talking about, right? All right. So they believe, like a lot of people, don't know the difference between the state constitution and the law of the land, the organic. Just that simple. It's not even complicated as to why. And all of this misteaching has been going on. So I say to you, if you find that that is the law, and you find that, oh, well, that's not what they're doing, then you should clearly be able to say they're violating the law. And then you should say, well, look, we're the Bays, right? Yeah. Well, what's that mean? We're enforcers of the law. Ours first, which is divine, yes. And then this compact right here. And the prophet already told you what to do. So if you think that that's not necessarily true, why are they hollering about the Constitution to this day? See, wasn't a lot of that going on until the energies of the universe brought a lot of stuff to be exposed. And now you see who is who and what is what. And you see them hollering about that same compact that they cannot alter. They can talk about altering it. Now, there was another thing that was mentioned about the coup of the democracy. Listen, it don't matter whether it's democracy or the republic. That is all representative form, a representative form of government, period, anyway. So that history is only the history of the United States of America anyway. We're sitting here watching them violate after violate after violate all the laws, right? Through generations and generations and generations. And we can go back to their inception, right? Which is 1774, in terms of being associated with the land, which is the reason why the prophet said, to go back to, referred you to what he called the Constitution of 1774, because that was their agreement. That's why he referred you there. But it took you would have to do a lot of researching to say, well, what is he talking about? And then some people will read that and still don't get it, because why? Why? Because in their mind, the indoctrination is, if you say Constitution, they say 1776. That's all they know. That's all we have been told. That's all that we knew. And so we want to really help to assist. We need institutions of learning. There's no question and no doubt about that. But that one little thing right there will help people get over that little hump. Stop thinking 1776 Constitution. Well, actually, it wasn't even 1776. It was the Declaration of Independence that they actually wrote in 1776 and actually received the independence in 1783. At the Treaty of Paris. This is all chronological fact. Roz isn't making this up. I'm not making this up. We didn't make this up. We did the research for it. So that was 1783 at the Treaty of Paris, when the British or brutish Moors honored that. Why at Paris? Because that's where they met. That's why. But we've been indoctrinated not to even think about Paris or associate that with us in any way. But we know that they say, well, you know, we got our independence from the British. And they're talking about your cousins, the British Moors or Brutish Moors. So I trust I clear that up. But there will be people who will argue, well, all I say is go back. If you think that that's true, go about being citizens, go find out what it is that you are being a citizen of. And that should answer your question and take you back to the prophet's work. And then it would take you to knowing that your national name is Moorish American as you interface with this particular market called the U.S.A, who has convinced you that they are a governing authority over you, your household, your life. And they're not, and they never were. But they rode that horse because we accepted it, and we accepted it and allowed it for so long that we taught it to our children to accept it as well. And so when we go to tell these truths, we get resistance. Of course you're going to get resistance. The children and you're including yourself have been indoctrinated for something else. That's why the prophet said, you're in a mental slavery. That's why he said, if I tell you everything, you'll go back to sleep. Because you're sitting there trying to compute all this trash that was put in your brain. You're trying to throw that out so that you can put in the truth. Trying to find a crack or a crevice, and it'll make herself at home. Yes. So that's the process we go through. However, since we did not have our own schools, well, that's how we're going to suffer. We're going to suffer like that because we don't have our own schools for our children. So what did the universe do? COVID came, and it even showed you better figure out how to teach your own babies. Prophet told you that already. And we didn't follow it, but it doesn't mean we can't do what we can to do so now because it's the answer. And they keep showing that it's the answer. Just keep showing it, keep showing it, keep showing it. They're like, it's like, they're like, oh, if you ain't gonna listen to this, I guess we're gonna have to just kill you. Wow, didn't the prophet say something like that too? The prophet said, what do you want me to do? Kill you? So that's what these people with the agenda is. So damn, we just gonna have to kill them. Because they won't get it. So that's where we are, and I trust I answered that pretty well. And anybody who's telling you that does not know the illustrious history. That's all that you just said to me, Cujo. That those people do not know the illustrious history. That's what it means. Now, they don't. They just don't, because they would never say nothing like that if they knew what that was. If they knew the obverse and the reverse. If they knew why the pyramid is there. And that pyramid is a symbol, an ancient symbol of civilization, comes right off of the astrology wheel. And represents all the elemental harmonies. See, if they knew that, they wouldn't say that. But they don't know that. And now you want to try to tell them, and somebody else is out there swearing they know, didn't study, can't listen to them because, they won't listen to anything because they already think they know. And they've led a lot of people or fed a lot of people untruths and falsehoods. Truth strangely mixed. And they're spinning their wheels. You know what? There is nothing new under the sun. Spinning their wheels. We're going to start a new government. We're going to start a new this. Oh, there's people now talking about they want to be a state citizen. They're going to start their own state. Well, yeah, state of mind. When the prophet said, go back, if you don't believe in what I'm giving you, which is universal, because I'm universal, meaning I'm here for everybody, all of humanity. But I came to you, Moors, because you seem to need me the most. So it's like, well, if you don't believe in what I'm saying, you don't want to, you ain't down for the program, you ain't down for it, then go back to the state in which I found you. People think he really means a state, like one of the 52 states. He means your state of mind. He started his whole thing out saying, man is mine. but people think he meant state. So now what are they doing? They're going to create a new state. Really? And the state means a group of people occupying a fixed portion of land, which we already do. We already occupy fixed portions of land. Right? So what you get to know is that people haven't studied that mundane stuff, let alone reach the spiritual portion of what chapter 1 says and create their own reality. But the thing that gets me is when you want to step down on other people to bring yourself up. That part, that means they haven't, they again haven't learned those lessons that the Circle 7, that you will find imbued in the Circle 7. And since I'm mentioning that every first Sunday of the month, if you want to know the Circle 7 and really learn it, Sister Jayana Bay gives a class on our go-to platform, and it is awesome. She teaches it, she shares it in a way that you will comprehend, because it's called comprehensive reading and teaching. So that's where we are now in the energy right now that's going on. Did you notice how all of this backstabbing and all these people that were doing all this talking about people, but now many of them are shut down? So I said, oh man, they're gonna come back to RV Bay and try to mess with us again. You know what I mean? Because the others who were in there doing that stuff, they got shut down by who? Oh, you think it's by YouTube? Oh, you think it's by whatever other those apps are? No, by the universe.
Allah.
And by Allah, you don't think it? Yeah, exactly. That's why they shut down.
Islam, brother Khalif.
Khalif Muhammad Bey.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, War.
Okay. Islam, Mother Roz Mariah.
Islam.
Mother Roz Mariah. Listen. I'm just thankful for this moment. Honestly, I'm very thankful. And I just want to say to the rest of the panel, Brother Yusef, as well.
Islam, boy.
So I'm going to take this opportunity to step on haters. That's the only one people I want to step on to get to where I'm going. All right, go to side. Anyhow,
I can't hear you. I can't hear you that well. Let me turn my.
A lot of people. I apologize.
That's better. Thank you.
Brother Cujo.
Yeah, boy. We can hear you.
Brother Cujo. Brother
we can hear you,
Cujo.
Mar. We can hear you.
We can hear you. He's answering you.
Yeah, they're messing with his. That's definitely not Allah messing with his thing.
You said it's not?
Yeah.
Oh, that's contemptible spirits that ride every wave. Are you
Hello?
kidding? Yes.
Hello.
We hear you. You. All right.
We hear you.
Yeah, something's going on with this thing. Push the button again.
But real quick, while the more is trying to get back on.
Yeah, go ahead.
For Mother Roz, quick question. There's another comment that they're saying that RV Bay isn't addressing, like they're trying to hide some information or something about
Oh yeah, the Moroccan Empire.
yeah, the Moroccan Empire being the France being the protectorate over the Moroccan Empire.
Well, I don't even understand the question. It's like France, that was when Moors went over there and pulled the flag up over there, but like the Moroccan Empire, or that's the Moroccan Kingdom. So I'm not even clear on the question. To explain it to me, see if it makes sense.
That's the thing. The statement was colored that they had made, and you're basically correcting their statement by saying the statement was even colored So why entertain the questioning? Because, like you're saying, all of that is modern. Like that.
Oh, let me tell you about that. Let me tell you about that. Okay, yes. All right. Now, back in the day, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. Just 1 second, breathe. 1 second. Back in the day, okay, all right. So now, let me say this. I apologize. All right. Back in the day, speaking of this, I did make the correct. Okay, I did make the correction. Back, I don't know, many years ago, maybe 10, 15, 12. I've got a stack. I still have it somewhere about this thick. All of these Moors was running over and signing up for something in the kingdom. I thought, wow, they don't know that that's the kingdom and not the empire. And they all ran for it. So yeah, I should answer that.
Peace, Brother Khalif. Let's try again.
I'm gonna try again. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, you have to turn on your volume.
I have it up all the way as high as it possibly can go.
I hear you well.
Oh, you hear me well? Oh, great. I just want to come on the panel and thank you, Mother Roz Mariah, for all that you have done for us as a people with sincerity. That's the only reason I'm here, just to thank you for all that you have done. With your energy alone has waking me up, made me aware of the politics that operate this planet. And I just want to thank you, honestly, with all sincerity. Anybody got anything negative to say about Mother Roz Mariah, don't listen. They don't know what they're talking about. Just don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about.
Wow.
They don't know what they're talking about.
Thank you so much.
You absolutely appreciative. Your energy alone speaks for itself. Your behavior speaks for itself. Your action speaks for itself. Anybody that goes against you out of their mind. They out of their mind. Are they traders one? And you know what I do with traders? I use traders to step on to get where I'm going to. That's right. I use traders as floor mats to step on to get where I'm going to. Especially haters. They got to be the world's biggest haters out there ever. Ever. The biggest haters ever. And they need to check their little happy desires. They need to check them. They really do.
You mean put a circle around their passion?
Encircle their passions. Square up their behavior.
Well, look, I thank you for your accolade. I really do. I really, really do, because that was the position in which I came from, or the energy was one, sincerity, and I'm guilty of looking for the best in others and giving the best in me. And I know anybody that knows me will tell you all the time, why are you so kind? Why you do this? That's all I'm guilty of in this thing. You know what I mean? And that's no shame. That's no shame to be of. But yes, I really appreciate that you recognize the sincerity that the dictates of my soul put me on to do, because all of us, if we really want to know how to help get through this and go through our path, that's for us, because it's like they say Allah, you got a lot of people that say, well, I don't like this and I don't like that. And they go to all these different tables looking for, what they know what they don't like, but they don't know what they like. Right. And I say, look, there's a divine table that has already been prepared for you. So search for that, go to that table, and everything you like will be on that table. And so when the prophet says that, whatever foes you got to fight in the earth plane, once you drop that garb, you're going to have to fight them on the soul plane. So I said, well, you know what? If if I could follow the and he also told you to follow the dictates of your soul, not someone else's. So I'm thinking, if I can follow the dictates of my soul while I'm physically here, that's the key. To follow the dictates of your soul, regardless to what someone else says or does. I think that would be the key. Thank you. Are you there? Are we
Yeah,
still?
yeah, I'm
All
ready.
right. I
Just
think
muted.
Khalid may have dropped out. I just wanted to say
No,
thank you.
I just muted him because his we were getting feedback from his side. But there's another
Oh, yeah, it was echoing. You're right. So he heard you. Peace and love. All right.
piece, brother Menelik. Brother Menelik, you there?
Yes, yes, Grand Sheik. Islam. I wanna say Islam to everybody on the panel. Yeah,
Islam.
Islam.
Brother Yusuf. You had anything else, Brother Yusuf?
I was it was not on this particular subject, but I don't really want to change the subject right now. So like if any Moors want to comment on what Mother Roz was just going in on before I, ask my next question.
Yeah, I think we're good. I think you're good.
Okay, because well the question is more of a personal one for me. Nothing too crazy or nothing like that. But like I used to go to the National Black Theater in so-called Harlem when you used to do your classes, and
Yes.
I was just wondering what happened to the building.
I'm going to answer that question and give you a little history of how things, divine law governs all events at the same time. All right. All right. Now, first, I want to ask you, is the building still standing?
As far as I know, the building's still standing.
You're just talking about
It's,
how nobody's there, no activity. All right. All right. All right. So here's what went down. We started doing the classes in 2006, even before I created the website RB Bay Publications. We ended up in the National Theater, from outside on the corner to Jack's Place to the National Theater. And I know that I was like, okay, 5 years, that's harmony. I'm out. 7 years, that's order. I'm quitting. I'm not coming here anymore. 9 years, oh, that's completion. I definitely got it in now. Next thing I know, it's 11 years. And then what happened with the building? Because I probably would still be there if I was waiting for myself to stop it. But divine law stopped it in 12 years because that is the 12th step. That was so symbolic. All right. And wasn't at our control. They said that they were going to renovate or something the building. That's what they said. And so they started shutting down classes. And they said that they were going to have it supposedly imploded down to nothing and rebuilt again. That didn't make a lot of sense to me, but if that's what they were going to do, because to me, the National Theater is a national historical landmark and nobody ought to remove it from what it is and has been. And a sister is the one who actually established the National Theater. I know a lot of people may not know that. Maybe in New York they do. So she had passed form a few years before, just a few years before. So they said that they were going to shut it down and then open it back up again, and it was going to be limited. Like the theater part was going to almost not even be there, like type thing. And so they told us that in December that they were going to go ahead and they were going to knock. Everybody had to be out, and that's really what happened. It's just that when I knew that we had started in October, and then I realized that okay, well, we're going to stop in October. Because at first they said in November they were going to do the everybody out, and then they said December. So we knew that, all right, October is our end date. And that's exactly what happened divinely 12 years later. And I was wondering whether the building was still open or not.
Real quick, could you talk about because I remember when I went there, it used to be like different rooms, like different activities going on. It wasn't just Morris Heritage School in there. So
Right.
like, could you talk about the different groups that were in the building? Because a lot of Moors might not understand, like when you in the National Theater, it's not just the Moorish room. Like there's other rooms in there that people are teaching in, if I remember correctly. Could you talk about, like, I think I remember seeing like African Bambaatas group in another room in the building while I was going to class. Like it was like, it's like other activities going on. It's not just class, if I remember right.
Well, actually, it was the Zulu Nation, Africa Bambaataa,
Right.
right? They're the ones who got us in the place.
Wow.
They're the, oh yeah. So if you want to talk about it, talk about unity, in fact, let me go back to when we were on the corner, when we were in the hedges
Yeah,
at
yeah. See, that's
Chicago,
what I was saying.
all right,
Yeah.
at 125th and 5th, in front of the famous juice bar. That's where we was planted at. And Nature Albay is the one who, got us kind of like, yeah, we got to do it like this. We got to go here. He was familiar. Then from there, we went to Jack's place, which was a t-shirt shop. Now, let me show you what it means to be industrious and to assist each other. And when the universe grants you access because you were doing it without this serious consciousness that it is just what it is. All right. Principles don't change. So now we get to the t-shirt shop from the outside to the inside. And the t-shirt shop, the small place, the back of the room, the back room of the t-shirt shop that he wasn't using anymore, it was really small, but it was filling up and filling up. So what was happening? He was getting business at his t-shirt shop to the point where he was growing and he needed his back room. But that was all good because we were growing together. We needed more space as well. So we helped each other, but we didn't sit down and plan to do that. It was out of the goodness of the spirit of the soul in your heart that he even offered his place. And as a result of that goodness, because that's how the principles work, that's what began to happen. Now he needs his space and he needs to move into more of that space. We needed to move out because we needed more space. African Bambaataa was actually sitting in that class in that back room. Oh yes. Peace and love to him forevermore. But so he made the connection to get us there. So now we get there, and the Zulu Nation usually meets in what they call the temple room, that room where we were in with the dome. That's where they usually met. But they gave that to us, and we went to the theater side. That other side right across. When you come off the elevator, you go here, you go to the theater side. And on occasion, we would have to use that theater side as well, because the whole building management would sometimes book other people who wanted to use the space. But when we first came in, we weren't in that dome room. Let's show you how growth is. We weren't in the dome. We were on the side, which is really the receiving hall, if you will, outside of the temple, outside of the theater, and on the side of the temple. And we had a little divider. We grew out of that real fast. And that's when the Zulu Nation said, all right, we're going to give you this, and we'll have our meetings over here, etc., like that. So we work together. Because you have to have, the prophet said you have to be in the same direction,
And that grew in 12 years. That's crazy. That's crazy.
12 years.
Yeah.
To the date, to the month. And I realize now that the universe didn't want me to stop that until 12 years. So of complete true cycle. And so I want to clear that up because a lot of people will come in, and it was the Moorish Heritage and History School. I created the logo, the concept of it, and then sometimes like this confusion that you are clearing up is beautiful because it shows that we work together. But a lot of times the people would come in and they would say, "Well, isn't this the Moors Order of the Round Table?" And I'm like, "What does this flyer say?" No, this is the Moors Heritage and History School, like Ada, like that. And so a lot of things would get confused, and they didn't realize that RV Bay Publications or Rosemary Bay with my assistant Anna, we were keeping that administratively going because even when they talk about Taj, I just have to say everybody knows Taj gets with everybody and goes from here to there and will help anyone. Well, what makes them think it's no different? That's the way heroes like that. So we kept things going I started, kept it going regardless to who would come in or come out. And we also opened the venue up to a lot of Moors that you see today came to that through that platform. It was, now when I look back at it, it was amazing actually. But I didn't know that then. I was just in it. Now I could tell you some stories maybe another time about some of the adversity or that I would get. And as a woman, it was amplified, but I didn't know that either because I was just following the dictates of my soul as man exist and do and be. That's all I was doing. And and I call myself being pretty logical in my thinking because of those Libra scales, and sometimes naive. But that's my experience, and I wouldn't trade it in for the world. And I have to say that when I first came into this movement, because that question was asked earlier, the first thing that I did do, because I used to have my own local newspaper, so I knew how to do newspaper. That's how I sustained myself and my family. I did the Almaracan Star. I think I came in on a third or fourth publication because see, when I first came into this, my first teacher was Queen Valor Ranita El Hari Beg, and I was with for like 2 years, and then I met Abdullah and Taj, and I offered my services to help lay out the Al Moroccan newspaper. I also laid out the civil letter of Sabir's. I also laid out two of Abdullah Bey's newspapers and another one called Moroccan Light, which was an associated through Abdullah, and that paper was in California. I did all of that before I even established the RV Bay Publications website and or and MHHS classes. But a lot of people didn't know that I had already contributed that, because you have to see the prophet says that everybody everybody has their own gifts of understanding, so we all bring ourselves to the table. We bring something. Now some of us just haven't found what that is within ourselves first, because nobody else can do that. You have to do that yourself. But I find that when people say things like, well, what do you want to be? The answer should be, I want to be who I am, and that you should seek in your soul, and you will find even now, although we've all gone through 9 to 5s, or whatever, maybe that we didn't like or whatever have you, but the thing that interests you the most is the thing that you're supposed to be doing and will end up doing for this nation, because we do need each other. And the prophet told you need each other, but you're going to need each other more later. And that later is coming upon us. And that's why there has to be a washing out of all the craziness and all the, backbiting and talking about people and all the sensitivities that people have, because they have not learned to accept themselves first with their imperfections. And the astrology chart just shows you where they are. Look at that. That's why the prophet said, oh, you know everything? Well, what about yourselves? You studied everything, well, study yourselves. So yeah, so I wanted to get that background on to answer your question about in that room. And I didn't know that you didn't know that, you know, we were already working with the Zulu. That they the ones who made it so that we could have the space and
I
so on.
appreciate that. I didn't know it. I don't want to, because I know the panel probably got some questions, so I'll yield the floor. But I have so many questions off of that. So Islam.
All right.
Any other comments or questions? Anybody in the chat have any questions? You could.
Oh, you know what? I'm just looking at your chat. Why this brother said we're not Muslims? I mean, if you look at Muslims from a position of a religious faction, then yeah, we're not.
Yeah, that's the perspective they're looking at it.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
That's why
Yeah,
he's saying we're not, because there's this thing going on. That's why I asked you also about the going back to the mindset question, because there's this thing that, oh well, the history book Stanley Lane Poole said the Muslims in Spain, so that means Moors are Muslims. Or some reference point says Muslims from the perspective of Sunni Shiite religious sect of Islam. Moors are that. Moors aren't Muslim. Moors aren't metaphysicians. Moors aren't astrologists. Moors are supposed to be Muslim because the history book said Moors are Muslim.
Oh, really? All
Yeah.
right. So A, E, I, O, and U are interchangeable vowels from the vowel sounds, and you know, like okay, so maybe it's accepted better if you say Musulman. If you say Musulman instead of Muslim, maybe they would receive it better that way.
Oh no, it's not from them receiving it. It's them holding their dogmatic position to pull Moors in it.
Oh, I got it. Well, guess what? Guess what?
It's almost as if they're saying you got to be, if you're a Moor, you have to be Muslim, like, or in order to be Moor, you have to be Muslim. Like they almost make it seem as if that's what the case is too.
Muslim, but they're talking about in terms of the different sect of the religion, and not Muslim in terms of a fetus, muscles, bones, and tissues, where they got that from. They're not talking that. They're talking from the religious sect.
Right.
And then once you get to the religious sect, then they break that down and argue about which one is the right one there, right?
All you know it.
All over the place. Got to do it all over, right? So they miss where that came from. They miss that. And that's fine. You know, in due time, I guess they'll get it.
Please, any more questions?
Son, again, all them damn prayers. Oh, yeah. Let me just say this. Religion is the biggest thing that they've used to misdirect the people. At the same time, if you know what religion actually is, as the prophet told you, the door to religious freedom swings both ways. And when you look at that law of the land, they protected that, absolutely protected it from the your religious customs and beliefs. Like, for instance, let me give you, like, say, you have, okay, now let's not put it that way. You have the right to associate, you know, and that means right to contract or whatever, or what one might call the right to contract, to your medicinal herbs. Now that came in the rights of indigenous people, but the rights of indigenous people didn't give us rights. None of that gives you rights. None of it. It just affirms that which already exists. All right. So if a lot of people, especially when COVID hit, they weren't paying no attention to that. And then they were like, oh, well, it's against my religion to take the vaccine. But they didn't know how to support it because they weren't really living it and understanding what it was. So now, is there anything else?
I don't think so. Brother Yusuf, you got anything else?
No, I yield the floor. Islam.
All right. I think I've mentioned everything. I don't know if there's any other questions, but I appreciate the time. If we're done now.
It seems so. Appreciate you being here. Thank you for clearing up the confusion. I'm sure everybody learned something.
All right. Oh wait, hold on. I'm sorry, but I see some of my peeps in the chat right now, and I gotta holler out to Mufti Minka. I see you, and my sister mother Karima. All right, peace and love. I meant to send her a text, the alchemist, and I just want everyone to know that now, I don't want to miss anybody. I am just now looking at this chat or comments. I'm just looking at them, so I don't want to miss anybody. I appreciate everybody who's on the line today, but I want you to know. Oh, somebody in here said Jesus is justice. You're daggone right. I want you to know that we do give RB Bay Publications and Presentations gives classes. The reason I'm going to say they're closed is because we asked for a donation to get in. So if you want to call that closed, that's closed. But we want and welcome anybody to do so. Now, if you have a Moorish Heritage and History School ID, student ID from however long back, it's 12 notes to get into the class. And I like them to be administered at every 3 weeks. So that means you would pay 36 notes for 3 classes. And then if you don't, then it's 15 for 3 classes, which is 45. So you have to pay 3 at a time. And we send you the link, of course. And really that's based on a $20, but no, I don't even like taking finance. Everybody knows that, but I have to keep it going on. But what we're going to be doing is the same energy what we are doing is the same energy that I had when the Morris Heritage and History School was established. And that is to bring on Moors to join in and share. And I learned from standing on my feet and for 12 years and knowing then how to ferret out whether someone's ideology, if you will, is not in line with the universal, then, no, it's not going down. We don't have these classes for debate. You can ask questions and you can definitely learn some stuff. Brother Minka is assisting with that. Brother Ms. Raheem, which is my son, Ms. Raheem L from Mantis Views. Sister Karima was listening on our MHH blog, which still happens every Tuesday at 9:00 with Sister Anna and I. But she was listening for years. We didn't know that she was an alchemist. So she did a banging class, which I am going to put up. And she will be giving more classes. So that's what we like to do. We like to do just like the prophet said. You got to be going in the same direction and do this thing. And we bind together. Now, I can't forget Sister J, because I mentioned her earlier, who also gives the Circle 7 Sunday classes every first Sunday of the month at 1 p.m. on this same go-to platform. And you could go to RB Bay Publication site and the link is right there. You can click it. It's free. You can go right on. Now, I do want to share one more thing. RB Bay Publications and its legacy, if you will, it is an old platform. I, Rosmariah Bay, created it myself as a do-it-yourself. And we're in the process. And when I say in the process, that means the thought is there first, of upgrading it so that it's mobile friendly and all that great stuff. We've been through a lot of hiccups going down the line. That's a whole nother discussion. But it's going to be upgraded. Certainly before, the next, let's say 3-4 months. I forgot the date that we're putting together for it. It's going to be upgraded and it's going to still stand. And everything that we share on there is absolute fact and can be proven. And if anybody tells you don't go there, it's because they either don't know enough, or they want you to come in to their little whatever they got going on. It's not healthy for them to do that. Well, I'm going to use the word healthy, but they do it purposely, because look, we don't ask for membership to go into RV Bay Publications or MHHS. We don't ask nobody for membership. We just assist you to do what you do. So whatever it is you're going to do. So I appreciate the support. And if you are interested in the class, I don't know which email is up, but it's RV Bay Go to Class. RV Bay Go to Class at gmail.com. And
I don't know if you saw the question. Has Mother Roz ever had a psilocybin experience?
A what?
Mushroom experience.
Oh, you know what? No.
Yeah.
I have not, but I've heard so much about it. But let me tell you something. I don't know if I need to have one, because the universe got me in check on just, suburb tea. And it takes me straight, herb tea, and it takes me straight to the cosmos. Because see, in my chart, I have something called automatic writings. So I can just write just like that. And when I'm inspired or in a state of mind, that's what I do. And I have to pay for that, in that the first thing that happens to me is that I have to use the bathroom, and I have to do 1 and 2. And then once that happens, the energies fill me with words that might start with a poem, on that poem might go to a book, or that poem might turn out being a short story, and then that might turn out being a book. That's how it works for me. I'm gifted in that. The universe has given me that. So now give me the name of that mushroom. Soul what's it called?
Oh, that's the proper term, psilocybin.
Psilocybin?
Yeah, psilocybin.
All right. Well, no, I haven't done that as of yet. I hear though, and if there's someone who's asking me, they must know about it, that when you do that, you can. Is it true that you need to be around someone because you can really what they call trip? Is that true, or is that just what people say?
Well, let me get this link.
Nobody wants to answer that call. Y'all want to answer me if I tell you that, but when
I'm sure they'll answer you.
No, they don't want to answer. They don't want to incriminate this. Next thing you know, they'll be up on YouTube talking about, I don't blame you, but y'all asked me, so it's all good though. It's all good.
Oh, and I don't know if you're reading the chat, but it looks like Sharice is in the chat. So I don't know if you want her on here to address anything, or let sleeping dogs lie. I don't know. How's your time right now? How's your time?
I'm good, but how do I get? I'm looking at the live. I'm in comments. Is comments different from chat?
No, the comment on the chat is the same.
All right, well, pull her up. Pull the sister up.
Yeah, she has to push the link. I put the link in the chat. Brother Tariq, Islam.
Highest honors I just wanted to jump on here real quick, Grand Sheik. Highest honors to Mother Roz Mariah Bey. I can't, like I said with Grand Sheik Cujo, I don't have the words to give the appreciation and gratitude that I feel and have for you and RV Bey and everything you guys do. I appreciate it to no end. Islam.
Gosh, you don't know how much I appreciate that. Like I said, it's been 22 years, and I haven't been hearing nothing but negative stuff every day, almost like coming, negative, negative. I'm like, how can people be negative about a foundation that's solid, that was just with the intent to do something positive for people? And like I said, Raspberry Bay ain't guilty of nothing but looking for the best in others and giving the best in herself. That's it.
They in
So
denial of the truth. They in denial of the truth. That's all it is.
yeah, man. All right. So I don't see anything, and we can leave it like it is because but I am
What?
looking at the chat.
Yeah.
Is there anything I should see?
No,
Nope.
she's on right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, Islam. How you doing?
I was doing fine. I'm still doing fine. Question is, how are you?
Better days, honestly. But yeah, I would love to clear this up with you if you can still extend the time, because nobody told me about this live. Nobody
Yeah, well,
on
that's right.
your end reached out or anything. So I don't know how spontaneous this conversation is, but since I know that I am on talking point of this conversation, I would like to put my 2 cents in where I can.
Well, let me say this to you. I would feel the same way about what that recorded stuff that went down, saying that I introduced you to a rapist and that you have a personal problem.
I don't know where rapist. I don't know where you're getting. Hold on. Fast tracking right now. Fast tracking. I understand that at the end of the day, there's a lot that's been misjumbled, but throughout that video, my 5-hour video, I've never called anybody a rapist. I actually didn't put no names out there outside of Cujo's name and your name, specifically because there were more important questions for the nation that's on the table, and nobody wants to talk about it.
I know what it is. You're right. Somebody labeled it that RV Bay and Canaanland supports rapists. So you said
that never came from me. I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but that never came from me.
All right, I got you. So
I was specifically speaking on the point where there was a mediation that needed to be made, and I did reach out to you, and you basically called me a whore because I didn't wait a year, and it was on me to deal with. I stated that because that's exactly what happened. You washed your hands of me like Pontius Pilate. You washed your hands of me like Pontius Pilate. You
gotta be honorable here, and
you washed your hands of me like Pontius. You sent me on my way.
Hold on. Can y'all mute just for a minute? Yeah, she's not gonna listen. All right. So right there, y'all. She said I basically called her a whore. That's an untruth because I never will call no sister whore. She said because she didn't wait a year. Now here's the truth, and I hope you're listening. How could you say that's true when I didn't even know you were seeing this guy? How would I know how long you waited? See, so right now with what she just said, if anybody listened to what she recorded, you all will see that what she's saying don't make no sense because that's not what she said on the tape. All right. So how would I know that she didn't wait a year? I didn't even know she was seeing somebody. So with that being said, I'm done. Ain't nothing else to talk about because the only other stuff to talk about, you need to play what she said as a tape so the people can see how horrible it was and that she has a personal problem with me. I never called the sister whore. I would never call nobody a whore. I told you, if you're still listening, what I told you when I met you. If you coming to help your mothers, your daughters, and your sisters, don't cloak it. But you're really trying to find a man. Now, I think the reason why you never shared with me, as you're saying the advice that you got from Mother Rise, as if you must have maybe at one point been looking for it. The reason why you never told me that you was even with this brother is because you knew I already told you. And you never told me nor Annie. We found out on Facebook. So right there, people listening, there you go. We've caught in a this ain't right shit because right there, first statement she comes out with is all combobulated. How would I say you didn't wait a year? When did you tell me that you did that? I found out when everybody else found out. You know what I mean? On Facebook. And they were coming to the class, working at the class, and I didn't know. So what are you talking about? So this thing that she made up about didn't wait a year. Let Mother Roz tell you about, and I've said it before, sisters, about waiting. And when I tell you, you're going to feel it and know that it's true because it's math. It's math. When you meet up with someone, whatever your desires may be, whatever attracts you to them, you must give yourself minimum 3 months, 90 days. Not because I said so, but because that's in nature. Now, when you get to that 3 month, 90 day, that's the turning of the corner, right? You're going to see some things in that person, but you're probably going to ignore them. You're going to ignore them because you want it to be what you want it to be. But I'm giving you science right now. So now you go to the next 3 months, which is 6 months. That's 180 days. Now, everybody on this line should know what happened in 180 days. The ugly face of the relationship and of each person will show its ugly head. Why? Because it's 180 degrees. That's why. And you probably will ignore that too. So now you get to 9 months in. And as a matter of fact, I think this occurrence that happened with this is proof she could testify, right? Was 9 months. 9 months in, what happens? The baby is born. Now, the baby don't mean it's a physical baby. It means the meeting of the minds, the energy you expended. It shall birth something from it. It shall birth something from it. And now that's what you got in your hand. You got 3 more months to make a complete 12 cycle. If you can rearrange all that and get through that to the 12 months, that first cycle, that's good. But that's how you need to look at your relationships. And then do I need to say, first thing you need to do is you're fire, that person's water. Not going to work too well. And start considering the elements. But it's not just your sun sign, it's your moon and your rising, and you gotta factor all of that in. All right. The priesthood is dead. All right. So
there's Brother Khalif. Brother Khalif.
Oh, he's back.
Yes. Can you hear me clearly this time?
We can hear you, boy.
All right. Awesome. I just want to say thank you again, Mother Roz Mariah, for all that you have done for us as a nation. In spite of some of the energy, the negative energy that comes along with it, you are doing a very splendid job. Hands down to all the master teachers.
Islam, peace and love. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Islam.
I'm looking at the chat a little bit here. I see some more of my people. That's Tayessa. Peace and love, sister. Peace and love.
Islam. Brother Yusuf, you got anything else? Brother Menelik, any last closing remarks?
Islam, Mother Roz, just give thanks for clearing up the confusion and because it's always backlash against RV Bay Publications, Mother Roz, and the work that she's put in. Of course, there's going to be, you know what I mean? Because, like the prophet said, the jealousy, they're working every scheme, to go against what he started, you know what I mean? So, of course, they're going to do what they're doing right now, cause a confusion, making distractions. But I'm glad you're here to correct and give thanks for the presentation you did the other day with propaganda. That was a beautiful presentation too, with the propaganda.
Oh, who is this?
It's Brother Yusuf.
Oh, you were in that class?
I be trying to. Grand Sheik sends me to class.
That's all right. Like I said, spread it. That's fine. That's fine. You like that one on propaganda?
That was beautiful. Yes. That was perfect. That was perfect.
Thank you.
That was perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much. There is one thing that I do need to address. See, I told you I didn't want to forget everything, and this is part of this is definitely, well, I don't know. The heading is RV Bay, the way to go. That was also another heading or subheading on the stuff. Well, let me tell you all something.
Yep.
RV Bay doesn't take membership. RV Bay doesn't do any of that. So what do you mean is RV Bay the way to go? The information within our site is right and exact. And it is what it is. And at minimum, you would recognize that there's other people around you and other citizens around you, like the prophet said, that are molesting you. Like what could be bad about that? But I did want to clear that up too. But thank you, Yusef. I'm glad you like propaganda because, you know, we talk about that a lot. And yeah, I'm glad you appreciate it that way.
And we also appreciate your energy as well, and your discernment and the way you view your concepts, and always keeping the right attitude. And in spite of fault in everybody else, you still are able to see the goodness in them. Thank you.
Yeah, and I want to camel back and add this in.
Where did he go?
Brother Menelik.
Yes, Grand Sheik. I want to camel back and add this. And Ras Mariah Bay, you has been an asset, you know, to all Moors that was coming in to this Moorish paradigm, for information. And I know, and I know that a lot of things happen around certain aspects of the information. But I want to say this: each more competence is how they are in the science, in the paradigm. And I'm glad that you had that website open for Moors to come in collectively and study. So I want to just put that in there. And then, you know, I've been defending RV Bay, you know, just on that alone in my heart, because I know the benefit what it has done to me. I have been attacked by Moors, you know, on certain aspects, but at the same time, it's up to them to choose their own discernment. And I yield the floor.
Thank you very much. And like you said, we have been there for new Moors coming in, and apparently there's a campaign of some kind or energy directed to try to keep the new Moors from coming to RV Bay. That's why all this negative stuff goes around it. But like I said earlier, people have forgotten that the prophet already said that these people are coming in with their eyes open, you know, and so you can't stop that. you can't stop them. They're going to see you. Remember, there's one thing that the prophet said. He said, others see you more plainly when you do not see yourself. And so the coming in with the eyes open, they're going to be able to see that. And also that man's business is about reflection, because that's what we all are. Thank you so much.
Thank you as well. Thank you.
All right.
Islam. Well, give thanks again for being here today.
Yeah.
It was definitely a great build. And don't forget Canaanland Moors open platform. Pay your 500 and you get your 2 hours. So you can have a platform to talk from, because we put in enough work. We got enough videos up there from Canaanland Moors, so you know that there's other Moors out there with knowledge. Here's a platform for you to spread your knowledge. Honors to all the Moors. Oh, hold on. Oh, let me see if this Moor is gonna push the button. Push the button, brother Icon, because I know you gotta give Mother Roz her honors. We got UK on the line right now, so hopefully they hit the button and they can give you their honors.
Thank you.
Because
Hands down, Mother
everywhere.
Rod Mariah get all the flowers.
RV Bay's been everywhere. RV Bay's been in places where you have never been physically.
That's so true.
And one of the people who were talking about the rapist thing.
Yeah.
The individual who said the video that Canaanland Moors and RV Bay supporting rapists.
Yeah.
He's on the background thing right now, but we're not letting him on because he doesn't get to talk on our platform.
So is he the one who? Oh, wait a minute. So he labeled that.
Yeah. He labeled that.
So he's another hater.
Yeah,
all right.
then,
so that right. Yeah.
Then remember, also, you might not be privy to this part of it, but he also did a phone interview with Sharice as well.
Is that what the tape was, or that was something?
No, something separate. After the thing that you had to make the stereo, after the stereo thing, there was another thing. That's where the rapist thing came from.
Well, if she goes, well, look, man, what? Here's the common sense. If you come to the platform and I introduce you to everybody, what I heard it out of her mouth. I listened to it. That's why I'm saying, okay, something's not right. But you know, that I introduced, and she introduced me to him. I don't do that. I told you when you came in, leave these alone. I mean, you know, you here to do the work. That's what I said. For real, for real. So why, you know, I heard that being said. I heard what was said. I heard the sister who I love to see be all right, for real, when I said that, say, and here's the personal problem that I have with Roz. And went through this thing about when she called me and I ain't answered the phone. And when I did, you just heard it yourself. You practically called me on. No, I don't do that. Anybody that knows me know I would never, ever call a sister that. Ever. Even if she didn't wait 3 months. Even if she didn't, I still wouldn't do that because I don't do that. See, now let's do a lesson in perception. That's what was perceived. We got to get this. That's why we need to do some alchemists too. Learn some alchemy too. That's the perception. But here's what I wish, and all positive, is that sister and any sister is relieved from, because she hasn't counseled through that whole thing, because I ain't had nothing to do with that at all. So to get counsel or counsel yourself, because you said physician healed ourselves, right? And if there is some else, I can get that, because you need that, because it is very clear after 7 years you're stalking that, you're adding people in that had nothing to do with it, and the only person you haven't mentioned who harmed you, you didn't mention them. So if you didn't mention them and they're the ones who harmed you, and the people that you did mention did not harm you, why are they being added onto it 7 years later? Let's focus on the issue and the counsel of whatever that is. And if she can't do that with, or if any woman can't do that with the brother that they're with, or the brother can't do that with the sister that they're with, then you might need outside counseling with your support system. You don't get angry at everybody because of what you decided to do. You have support. So and then to say, as was just said, well, you practically, no, that's not good enough, baby. Listen, almost don't cut it. So that right there shows I never said that. So that's why, that is the reason why, if anybody listen, why I said cut the sister, because, or my choice would be, because what she just said proves to you all that she don't have her own facts straight in her head. And that's all right, because we women, I told you, we have been psychologically damaged. And if we can accept that, find out where it is, and then accept that and fix that and support each other with that, we'll be all right. But if we're going to constantly hold a grudge against people who have nothing to do with your pain, and then leave the people who do have something to do with your pain out. That is a sure indication that you haven't gotten through that yet. So I wish blessings to, graces that come the way to soothe that. But I'm not going into no other type of unwarranted and disrespectful dissertation. I had enough of that when I was on my feet at the Moors Ashes in history school. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I wish. Peace
Well,
and love.
there was 3 more that jumped on, but I want to get Brother Icon Baker. It's probably about 3 a.m. where he's at. So, Brother Icon, just unmute yourself, unless you fell asleep.
Icon Bay, he's muted.
Yeah, your thing's muted still. I saw it jump
Okay,
on.
while he's muted, I had just one question. I didn't know RV Bay was a dating site. I thought it was a site for learning. I thought it was a site for learning. I didn't know it was a dating site.
Did somebody say that it was?
No, that's what I thought. I thought you were supposed to go there to learn something about yourself. I didn't know you were supposed to go there trying to find a mate.
Which is the reason why, after several attempts at different sisters who came through and just busted up their whole life over trying to find a mate and busted up everything else that was going on, it all went to pot. It just went. Which is the reason why with this sister, Sharice, I said, no, if you really are coming here looking for a man, don't cloak it with saying you coming here to help your mothers, your sisters, and the daughters. Don't say you coming here to help the sisters when that's not really what it is. Don't cloak it, because we've seen too much of that go apart. But I understand what you're saying. No, we were not a dating. No, we're not that. Thank you. I get it.
Absolutely. You're welcome.
Islam, brother, is
Islam to the panel. Islam to Mother Ras Marad Bay. I love you, brother. I don't know if you remember, but we spoke for a bit. It's been a while since we spoke. We used to converse on Circle of Readers. And we were going through.
Yes, brother is. How are you?
Good, mother, good. Ancient and modern Britain. They were white and they were slaves, white cargo, and a bunch of other good reads.
You used to be there. You had already read most all of those. You was a great class for that. Yes.
I wasn't sure if he was going to remember me or not, but with my personal issues with them aside, that's the only reason why I haven't been on COR in a minute. But if that comes back through in the future, I definitely will be rejoining again. But I wanted to just say, with all this issue, that confusion, I want to give thanks for your good deeds and put it clear for the record, on the record, let it be known to whoever, for showing all Moors, whether new, old, whatever, how to actually act, how to keep one's dignity and show the true nobility to the world. Some people have personal issues, personal rights that no matter what, it's going to manifest this way. However, it's going to manifest because it's an unresolved issue for self. And if the person or the being needs to project that onto others, so be it. But as long as we don't take the bait, meaning that we get tripped up into the childish elementary school level play yard background, whatever mentality, it serves no purpose. That's only going to do is, if this would have happened to me, if this would have happened in 2009, I probably would have started my journey on discovering and learning about self and learning about our illustrious history. And in fact, I don't even call it history because you taught me to look into the etymology of words. So his Tory is not it. Chronological event is a lot better. And that I got from you. So this feeble attempt to distract and to disrail all the movement that has come out of your efforts, it pales in comparison to what you've actually accomplished.
Wow.
Literally doesn't even put a scratch in what he's done.
Islam, well said, well said.
You took without even knowing. I've never shared this with you, mother. I've never shared this with you ever, but I'm going to share it right now publicly. All right? And I'm trying to hold back kids. My bad. Excuse me.
You're good, boy.
When I came into this info, there were terms based on watching videos and whatnot, not live conversing. This is before I, grew enough in my manhood, I'll say, to actually step up and converse with you in person or live via electronically. My situation, some do, some don't. But I'll say this. I have asked Allah several times, twice to be exact. Give me a sign. Show me that what I'm thinking at the very beginning of this journey is correct and not one of these fugazi paths that are set up and propagated still to this day as a method to keep people running on a hamster wheel and to keep them from finding the truth. Well, you were one of those answers that Allah sent, and I'll tell you how. It wasn't a live video. It was a pre-recorded years earlier from the time, but I pressed it. And it was on a topic that I wasn't really too keen on, or really, I thought at the time, interested in at that moment, early on in my journey. You was going in on astrology, and you happened to go in on my birthday. And you went in so deep that you read me without even knowing my name yet. You read me like a book, so much so that it's still etched in my mind. You're like, oh, you born at this date? Well, I don't know you, but you're probably into technology. You have issues when conversing with females around you in your circle of love. They think that this, that. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like she has no house buzz. I just had this issue with my consort, my sister, and mother. What is going on? Flip me out. Flip me out so much that I actually pushed my way from my desk in my home office, shut down the network at my home, and I had to walk away. So I was like, this can't be right. What the hell is going on here? I was literally tripping out because I asked and I got it. And that was the first time. The second time it was Grand Sheikh Cujo, and Allah used him to show me. He got in deep on multi-hours on the quote-unquote so-called Indians, specifically the brother Tefkum Shea. And I'm like, Tefkum Shea, what the hell? Who's this? What's that? And Cujo went in, blah, 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 dropping this, that, and the third, going in about his brother. And I'm like, I had already asked Allah, show me if this is what I need to be on. Show me a sign. After watching that 2.5 hour, 3 hour presentation, the Grand Sheikh did. I was like, oh, I remember it was November. There was a lot of snow on my driveway. I went down to the garage to fire up the snowblower. I had owned that snowblower for over as long as I owned the house. It was like one of the second or third purchase I made. I'm up in the mountains. We get a lot of snow, surrounded by ski slopes. Go in the garage, get all dressed up, get the machine, get the gas in. I go to pull the ripcord, and I look down at the motor. What does it say? Tefkum Shea. Spelled exactly how the Grand Sheikh had just spoke about for 3+ hours on the video. I'm like, look at this. Look at this. Oh, I asked for a sign. Here's another one. I'm not asking for no more signs. I get it. I got it. That next day, I started started collecting and amassing my library. I give thanks to you, mother. because you got me started on that.
Wow.
There's not enough thanks to give to you, Islam.
That is so wonderful because, I mean, I can tell some of mine signs I got too, but what's really great to share is that we must recall that if we ask, remember the word ask, A-S-K, ask, and you shall receive. S, seek, and you shall find. K, knock on that door, and the door will open. So when we ask whatever our God is, whoever we say our God is, we think that God is going to come down however we think it is.
Right.
Because I know it's universal energies. And stand before you and say, here it is. No, because we're all connected. So he's always going to use another being that you may not even know. Like you said, you didn't even know. And connect it that way, and you will receive what it is that you ask for, and you won't doubt it. There will be no doubt. You know it.
I got slapped so hard upside my head I could have missed it if I wanted to.
And that's when you drop. You realize that the faith in what you know, is going to make manifestation. So that's like you drop belief. Like when you believe that the ABC, that these are the ABCs because your mama told you, or your teacher told you. Then when you start writing words with the ABCs, you don't believe that are ABCs anymore. Because you know that they are, because you're writing words and sentences. So then you drop your belief. Now you take what you know and manifest that. And then once with the faith that you have in what you know, have faith in what you know. Because if you don't, you'll never get wisdom. Because wisdom is the application of what you know. And then once you get that faith, you don't really have to have that anymore because it's with you. It's part of you. You don't question it anymore. You don't have to worry. Look, I had to learn these lessons myself and still am. And that you don't have to question it anymore. You know it's going to be all right. And then you understand why it says ask.
I'm jumping in my seat right now, shaking my head.
All right,
exactly. Now, thanks to the interactions that I've had with you years ago, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. I'm not trying to present myself as no leader guy, come follow me, look at me type of guy. But if I am going to speak with other brethren, whether mothers or sons, and they ask questions, I try to keep prepared. As prepared as I try to make myself when speaking with you during Circle of Readers, that's how I try to be throughout life now. So I give thanks.
Anna Eve was holding you to that task because Anna Eve was the one that was dealing with the Circle of Readers. She was holding you to that task. That wasn't me. I was just a part of it too. But
if anyone has questions, you try to get with Mother Roz and Mother Anna Eve and go over your chronicle events. You think you know what you know? Okay, survive with them. I like to see you too. Your kids on the way. I got popcorn. But Islam, Mother, peace to you. And peace to all that's all around you, and especially your son too. Got mad love for him and the work that he's done. Islam.
All right. Thank you, brother. Is it so nice to hear from you? Remember, email me at rvbaygotoclass@gmail.com. And we're still on the blog at 9 on Tuesdays as well. It's good to hear from you. I want to add to just one thing. Another sign is that whatever it is you want to do or going to do or plan to do, when you find people that are always saying, I could have, would have, should have done this, but if it wasn't for so and so and such, right there, you're never going to get wherever it is you're going, because there's always going to be a so and so and such in your path to, like a stumbling stone or someone that's always going to be there that might hinder you, even if they don't mean to, because they don't have your plan. So when you find people that say, well, I could have done that if it wasn't for this person, and I could have done that if it wasn't for that person, know that you are not going to ever get anything done like that. You got to truck on, and everything. And once you get past that, everything will meet you, because you're asking and you're going to receive. Islam. I yield. I thank you so much for this opportunity.
Brother Icon, get you on
Peace.
here.
Peace
Peace,
and
more.
peace and love, JS. I
Peace,
want to
more.
say supreme honors to Rasmael Bay. This is Icon Bay across the pond at Baratanak, Albion. You know the Brutish Moor, aka the UK Corporation. I want to
Yes.
say supreme honors to you, mother. We're here, and we love the work that you've put in throughout the years. Because I said to you, at the UK, there's a lot of packet sellers that's trying to influence and infiltrate us because you know it's not good for us to get to the knowledge. But what you have created on RV Bay is supreme honors to you, and I just want to rise you. But I can't find a way to tell you, but we love you. Keep doing the great work, and may Allah keep on blessing you. And I want to say supreme honors to JS Kojo, because he's one of the realest Moors I've ever seen. He's brought me on to so much more. Brother to brother is, and all the Moors, because he's really keeping us to the real Moors. So want that for you to be standing all your 5 points and keep on doing what you're doing, mother. We got my love for you. Islam.
Thank you. Peace to you always. Peace and love forevermore.
And also, yes, it's wonderful to know that you're an air sign because I'm a Libra like yourself. So it's beautiful to know that you are air sign. The free honors, I have to put that one in. Give thanks.
All right.
Brother Amir, peace, more.
Islam, Mother Rise.
Islam.
I just wanted to call in real quick and just speak to you personally and tell you thank you and that I love you to life for the information that you've given me, and I've been able to actually use it in my day-to-day. I went from Negro colored black status to full life living more and actually moving the way I should move out here. I remember 7 years ago hearing y'all talking about these taking airplane flights and such, going to the airport. And I had that experience over 15 times now. And it's like, it's super easy. And it's like what you were always talking about, having that exorcism, that baptism and things like that. But just basically fortifying my mind, like helping me get my mind together through all these dirties that's out here and everything. And me actually being able to use what you and Mother Annie had given us. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Brother Amir Sharifil. Thank you so much. Peace.
Gratitude, Mother.
All right.
Peace, GS, and all the Moors on the panel. Peace to y'all Moors. Stay faithful. You see them falling off by the day.
We see them.
Islam,
by the
peace,
day,
peace.
yo.
Islam, mi hermano, Islam.
Islam, mi hermano. Hey, Brother Iz, if you get a chance, more call me.
We'll do.
Islam.
Yes, yes.
There's no Moorish unity, though. There's no Moorish unity.
Man, it's super Moorish unity, man. I know so many Moors. Hey, a lot of y'all don't want me to spill y'all dirty bag, but I know a lot of Moors. I done seen them in person, you know. And hey, look, it's more than just the attire, you know what I mean? It's in your insides. Like, you gotta let your insides come on the out. And what you're seeing now is a lot of people's dirty insides being shown on the out. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, peace and love, everybody.
Peace, more.
Peace and love. Peace and love. All right.
Any closing remarks, Mother Roz?
Yes, I just want to say thank you again, Mother Rosmarai, for all that you have done. Ashe.
Ashe. And who was that? And I'm trying to see who was speaking.
Brother Khalif.
That was Khalif. That's great. All right. I'm looking at the panel and I'm getting used to this. Okay, got it. Yes.
And also, I want to take this opportunity also to thank your son as well, Brother Mizram.
Islam.
All right.
Sons of Allah, brother.
He's not
Islam.
present with me right now, but I'm sure he's going to see this at some point. And I'm sure he'll give that back to you.
Thank you for all that you have done, Mother Rosmaria.
All right. Thank you. Wow, that really feels great. That makes me feel really great. And I know that when we upgrade that site, we move. I mean, it's there now, but it's gonna be divine. It's gonna remain divine. Put it that way. All right.
It's already divine.
Yes. Thank you. It certainly was established with sincere and divine intent. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we feel every word on that website counts. Every word on it counts.
Read RB Bay every day.
Every day.
Even when we sleeping,
All right.
Islam.
Hey, Ali,
Even
my
when we
mother
sleep,
knows
when
who
we
RV
reading
Bay
RV Bay.
Publications is.
Your mother?
Yeah, my mother knows about RV Bay Publications because there was a lot of stuff about Moors being spread over the internet. So she called me one day and said, "Baby, I hope you're not in no cult." And I said, "No, but it's not like that." And she's like, "Well, what are you studying on?" And I told her RV Bay, and she went on there. I told her to look at the matriarch, Return of the Matriarch part, and she read that, and my mother, Christian. So, well, she thought she was a Christian until she started to read the things from RV Bay. Now she just does her thing. She say, "I'm just gonna deal with what I got to deal with."
Wow, that is an interesting fact you giving there. Wow.
Hey, again, I appreciate you so much. I can't even express it all in one setting. I couldn't. You touched my life in so many ways.
Oh my goodness, brother Amir Sharif. Yes. All right.
Peace and love,
Sound
family.
like another one that came out the church. Sound like another one that's gonna leave that church.
Prophet said some of his good Moors are
Hey, the
still
best Moors are in there,
church.
man. Hey, why
He
y'all
said they're
think
still
that
in the church. We understand that for certain. Why
every
he said that? You know what I mean?
Straight.
But that's gonna take his toll too. It's all gonna come around.
Yes, ma'am.
Any more comments or?
Islam Moors, give thanks to all the Moors in the chat. We got one before we leave out. We got one.
All right.
We got one before we leave out. And honors to all the Moors. You already know. We'll catch up again. Honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Honors to all the mothers and all the Moors worldwide. Islam.
Islam, hands down, Mother Rosmarie, one of the greatest that ever did it.
Stand back. Let me tell you this. Listen to it, okay? They say what doesn't kill it would only make you stronger. But I'm still here a little bit longer. Oh yeah, I should have been a long goner. What goes around comes back around, just like it's karma. What you sow, you're gonna reap because you're the farmer. Nowadays you can't trust your own peeps because some of them ain't farmers. They will sit at the feet of the beast just to eat meat. Beefing I'm not into. This is what I'm into. Rhymes and instrumentals, fundamentals. Yeah, I put my pen to the pad and put my thoughts on the line. I knew for a long time you've been trying to stop my shine, but you can't because I'm having a great time in the medulla, which is in the mind. Another one bite the dust now. Don't cry. I did when my grandmama died, but now she's an ancestor. I be having bad dreams. The doctor said it's from the trauma. 500 years and we still dealing with the drama. Question mark, no period, it's all commas. Come a little closer, come on, yo. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something.
More is my status. I used to be back too until I study, found out it's not natural. Used to say I'm Rastafari to capture is now the inner. No need to burn them out, let them simmer. Douse them in gas, about to light a big blunt. Rappers faking more than women wearing wigs front. Used to be black power, found out there's no power there. Talk a lot of kill crack and shit, white man still standing there. Used to be comedic, left my mind like invalids. Dick Gregory taught me leave those dusty ass pyramids. George G.M. James taught me Moors were custodians. Drew Ali and Jesus taught me watch out for those holy men, sacrificing animals. Temples smell like butcher shops. Conscious niggas got the pork in the pressure cooker pot. Can't trust my people, they always in denial. Lions say the Israelite, plural names on their trial.
Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. They thought we were N-I-G-G-E-R until we showed them that we G-O-D, we gods. Walking around the earth in the flesh. You gotta be your best at your best. Whether right or wrong, up or down, left or right, side to side. No tattoos, man. No tight jeans, man. I never went to jail and don't wanna go there, man. I took a look at you and be like, yo, like, hot damn. What's up with the purse? And what's up with the skirt? And what's up with the makeup? And what's up with the lipstick? You wearing high heels? You not a man, man. You are a man's man. You from the Stone Age land. You like bam, 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 bam. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something. Come closer, let me tell you a little something. Come closer, let me tell you something.